keeps stopping this video for some reason. The old stuff was just all rotten and either completely fallen over or ready to. So there were the opportunity to dig numerous post holes. Such fun. But that's basically all over. So I got all this fencing changed down through here. There's that Christmas tree. It's doing reasonably well. These things need a little more sun, I think, than what it's getting right here, but it's still flourishing. You can see the back side of it's kind of bald because back here there's even less sun. So you can see how this is all thick and brushy back up here. Just like it was in the back before that guy went through it with that god-awful machine he's got. And then a lot of these flower beds, we've been turning the grass. So you can see here, this used to be a flower bed because there was a tree in the middle that we cut out. So we've been planting grass. You can kind of see this new grass in here coming up. So all this will just be part of the yard at some point. Here's another big old bed that we've mounded up with really good mulch out of the chipper. But we've shortened this bed here went all the way back to the fence. So we decided to make this swath down through here yard. So again, you can see I flattened all this off to be level with the yard around it, and then we planted grass all over it. So that'll be cool. There's the rest of the fence up here. That's that big old, what's it called? I think this is Japanese honeysuckle. It's not like a normal honeysuckle. It doesn't have those kind of flowers on it. It's got some kind of weird berries that come out I think in the late spring. Then we planted these conical spruce, I think it is, here just a week ago. Kind of put in there. See, the hydrangeas are about ready to die and go away. And then here's the rest of the this fence up here in the front. All this got replaced down to right down in the middle there somewhere. You can kind of tell. Donna put these lights on these fence posts up here in the front as a test. They're solar. They got a solar cell on top, which is supposed to charge a battery, and then they light up at night. Well, they're not working, and apparently it's because there's just not enough sun right here where they're at. C'est la vie. We've still got some flowers going up here in the front. Supposed to be a serious freeze in the next day or two, so I suspect they'll all bite the dust eventually. There's some more new fence. It goes down to about right in here. And then the rest of this fence for a bit was in reasonably good shape, so I didn't want to screw with it. I may do it next season. You know, some of these you can kind of tell, like right here, that fence post right there in the middle is about 6 inches shorter than the ones either side of it because they rot and sink into the ground and it looks like crap. So I'll probably replace all this next year, next warm spring and summer, I'm guessing. I mean, there was one last spot up here where I had to put some new fence in because it had completely rotted and fallen to the ground. The walnuts have been thicker than hair this year, but unlike previous years, I decided to screw it. I ain't picking them all up. Donna threw a bunch of them over the fence. In fact, she was counting them Last I heard, she'd thrown 800 and some walnuts over the fence. And then we had another tree get blown over, but this one was rotten to the core. And it made a big ass mess over here in the front corner of the yard. I'm down here by the road. You can see all this nonsense in here. There was kind of a domino effect. This tree right here fell and then knocked down a couple of other dead ones. One of them was just a trunk that was about 9-10 feet high. And made a major mess. A bunch of it was out here in the yard, but I sawed it all up and hauled it off, either to the burn pile or firewood, and left this stuff here. I just haven't done it yet, mainly because it wasn't in the way of the mower. And we've still been steadily picking away at this huge, what used to be a huge brush pile from those ashes that we cut down, geez, probably 3 years ago now. So there's not a whole lot left, but I've been steadily throwing some of that crap into the chipper, and or I've harvested some of it for both firewood and kindling. And I sawed up a fair number of these guys to make cookies. By a cookie, I just mean a slice off like that. Because if you notice, in fact, I just walked by it and didn't mention anything. They had bordered a bunch of these flower beds down here by the road with cookies, but they were old and rotten. So you can kind of see them off in the distance there. Around the edge of that flower bed up front. So I had sawed off, geez, it took me 2 days because these puppies are big round logs. Sawed them all off. And oh yeah, see there, yeah, see these beautiful trees? They were much prettier a couple of weeks ago. Those right there are sugar maples. That's another one over here. So they went from yellow to bright orange, and now they're kind of dropping off. These oak trees don't do squat that's pretty. They go from green to brown, and then they normally hang onto the tree until like February or March. So all this nastiness down in here. So here's the stairs that go down into the bottom. All of that thick nonsense, we're gonna get him to take out with that big ass skid steer machine he's got. He'll just clear all this out down in there. And then you'll be able to see the big trees. Like, see, there's another huge oak tree right there. Enormous oak tree. Those things will become much more noticeable and enjoyable. We've been filling all these flower beds up with leaves. Heretofore, I've been hauling all these leaves back to the back and burning them, but Donna quite correctly observed, why don't you start piling these into these beds, and then hopefully over the winter they'll pack down and maybe decompose a little bit and prevent the morass of weeds and shit that come up in these beds in the spring. I also got my big huge chainsaw running. Put the big huge blade on it just to test it out. I sliced this big piece of trunk up and went through it like butter. So now I'm ready to start sawmilling some slabs, especially out of those guys over there. I'm gonna make a sawmill, a big slab out of this big one here. And my plans are to make a coffee table out of that, a live edge coffee table for the living room. This is, by the way, this bed we cleared out completely. It was full of crap. And we planted 70 tulip bulbs in there. So we're looking forward to the springtime. This little baby here ought to be popping with color from all the tulips that'll be coming up. And I think that's about all the major stuff. Well, you might notice this hog wire fence stops right here, because we tore all this hog wire fence out, going all the way back up around the house. It just served no purpose other than to be ugly. So I'm going to tear the rest of this out at some point. So now we've just got our rock wall, and then it just drops off into the forest. It'll be so cool when all that down in there is cleared out, which benefits the wildlife, it benefits the flora, the trees will get healthier. There's a whole raft of stuff this guy was telling us about, that cleaning these forest outs are a huge benefit to the forest and the local ecology. There's another maple down in there. You can see it all nice and yellow. That is so cool. And then here's, I don't know if I've had any shots of this or not. This was Donna's idea. This was a path that we put in. This used to be just dirt and junk. We cleared all this out and made this nice little walking path back up to the stairs over there. That's the bedroom, big bedroom window right here. And I believe that's about it. See, there's the firewood all stacked up. Kindling racks all nice and full. Ready to start burning firewood for winter. Oh, I'll take a picture of one last thing before I end. Before we met this Tyler guy, and he's got us turned on to getting this all cleared out with his machine, I was looking at doing a lot of it by hand. So we started cleaning this area out down here in the back of the house, and as we were doing that, you know, it kind of highlighted the fact there's this little piece of land here that kind of juts out 10 feet or so, kind of a flat area, and we thought, well, actually it was Donna's idea to put a bench here so one could sit here and gaze out on the forest and whatnot. So this bench is nothing but, I took one of those ash trunks that I had down in front, sawed it in half, made the legs, and then took another big old piece of ash trunk, sawed that slab out of it, and now we got a bench, which ought to last forever. Tell you what, these birds are gotten to be awful brave with the bird feeder. One of them was just right there above my head yapping at me. Alrighty, I think that's it. There's a chipmunk bounding around. These chipmunks ought to get to be disappearing here shortly because it'll be too cold for them. Our burning bush is starting to turn burning. This will be all red in another week or two. That'll be cool. Alright, I'll stop this for now and go post these on YouTube and send everybody an email.